I'm going to show you how to set up a Facebook lead ad campaign for your local business so that you can start getting results like this, where dozens of people will opt in and express interest in your business. So I'm going to show you pretty much the entire process that I would go through from start to finish. And yeah, hopefully this is helpful for you. If you're most interested in just learning how to set up the campaign inside of Facebook's Ad Manager, I'll put a timestamp on the screen, which you can jump ahead to. I'm going to start first with coming up with a lead magnet idea or an offer that is actually going to get people to opt in, which I think is the most important part of this entire process. Okay, so when it comes to selecting an offer, you need to think first about who your target audience is and what is it that's going to encourage them to provide their name, email, and phone number to you in exchange for. So this is going to depend kind of on the type of business that you run. The more attractive or the higher perceived value your offer is, the higher conversion rate you're going to experience, which means the lower cost per lead you're going to see as well. I've learned through experience that the best offers are typically ones with a discount. Now, I know that a lot of business owners out there probably are hesitant to offer a discount to their products or service because they feel it might devalue the value of their business. And that's totally understandable. And there are other ways that you can create lead magnets, which I'm going to share in a moment. But the reason I think discounted offers are so great and that you should consider using them anyways has to do with the lifetime value of your customer. So first of all, before you even start thinking about running a Facebook ad, understand how much revenue you can potentially earn from an average customer. So for an example, let's say we have some kind of service or a product where we earn $100 in revenue per customer, and on average, they buy that product or service every 6 months. And they stick with our business for 3 years. So that means that we're going to earn 6 purchases from that one person on average, which will result in $600 in revenue. Let's say that we have 50% margins. That means that we are going to earn about $300 in profit from that customer. So when you think about it like that, understanding the customer lifetime value, offering a discount of $50 for that first purchase or that first interaction with that customer becomes a lot more realistic and understandable why you would consider giving a discount, because you're still going to profit $250 from that person in the future. Another thing to think about is why people actually do business with you in the first place. You and I both understand that people will continue to use your product or service over time if they have a good experience using it, right? It's not just about the benefit of that product or that service, but if you have friendly staff, if you have good customer service, and if the overall experience of that customer is really good, they're going to be more likely to continue doing business with you in the future. But when you're trying to attract brand new customers, they're not going to make a decision based on experience because they've never experienced your product or service before. So what you want to do then is get people into the door by any means necessary so that they can experience your product or service for the first time. And if you have faith that your product or service is actually good and that it will retain customers over time, then you can be pretty confident that the long-term value you gain from that customer is going to be higher than the cost to acquire them in the first place. So that's my spiel on offering a discounted offer as your lead magnet. Some other things to consider though, if you're a professional services type business, like let's say a lawyer or even like a real estate agent, you don't really want to discount your service because your average customer is probably not going to be doing business with you until 5 or 10 years down the line, right? So, I mean, you could offer a discount on your commission up front potentially, but that's going to be a less attractive offer considering the how infrequent you return these customers. So in that case, that's where you would probably want to consider a lead magnet, where it's something like an ebook or some kind of informational lead magnet that would provide value to that person, whatever point they are in their journey, as opposed to offering a discount. So with real estate agents, what experience do you have? What knowledge do you have? What resources do you have access to? How could you package all of that information into something that would be an attractive lead magnet that would encourage people to provide their information to you? So common lead magnets for real estate agents are homes lists. So if you think about somebody who's in the market to buy a home soon, they want to find homes at a certain price point that they like. So by compiling a list of homes at an attractive price point in an attractive community, that's going to be information that somebody will be willing to opt in for because it's relevant to their journey, their home buying journey. And as a real estate agent, it's really congruent with your core offer, which ultimately is just to help them maximize the experience when buying a home. Some other things to consider are if you have a membership offer. So certainly if you have software that has a recurring membership fee each month, or even if you're like a gym or some kind of business like that, then free trials are a really great offer as well. I know that kind of goes to the discount stream as well, but free trials are often perceived differently than just a discount of your product or service. So if you're concerned about how your product is being perceived in terms of its value, then free trials are often a good way around that. And that's a circumstance where people are really buying into the experience that they're gaining on a recurring basis from month to month. So if you just give them a free trial for 1 or 2 weeks and they really see the value in that experience in coming to your gym or whatever it is, then they'll be more likely to actually purchase the recurring membership over time. So some places that you can go to look for offers are Groupon. This is a really great place. This is obviously where businesses have discounted offers. And so if you just go and filter by either your city or your country and then type in your category or whatever industry you're in, you can probably find and brainstorm some different offers that you could consider trying. So what we're going to do here is go through a scenario. We're going to pretend that we're running this lead gen campaign for a golf course, and I'm going to set up a campaign to try and get people to come and take advantage of a special golf course offer. So in this case, we're going to say that this golf course has green fees costing $75 each. The golf cart costs $15 per person. So the offer in this case, let's say we're giving them 2 green fees, a cart for both of those players, and then food vouchers, $10 per person. That's a total value that they're getting of $200. And then maybe we offer that as a bundle for $125. So they're saving about 37.5%. The perceived value of that is quite high. It's going to be a pretty interesting or like a fun experience that they get to do with a friend. And you think about the economics of this, like I don't know what the margins are for a lot of golf courses, but a 37% margin, that's probably not too far off from the truth. So if even one of these golfers came and golfed one time again in the future, and they paid $100, you would earn $70 or $37 in profit from that one recurring customer. So your chance of breaking even from this offer is pretty high, even when you include this discount. So I think this could be an interesting offer. There's quite a bit of value there, and it's something that your target customers certainly would be interested in taking action on. This note here, it takes work to refine your offer. So yeah, just go through Groupon, take a look at what other your competitors are offering in terms of like lead magnets or discounts and stuff like that. And just keep brainstorming and like constantly thinking about different ways that you can package this. Because it doesn't always have to be like, get this for a discounted price. Like you could think about how you can actually increase the value of something that they already would purchase. So maybe instead of offering a discount on a $100 green fee, you could get them to pay $100, but then add stuff on top of that. So in addition, they're going to get, a 10-minute lesson from the head pro, or like a putting lesson. Maybe they'll get like a free sleeve of balls that you have overstocked or something like that. So there's other ways of coming up with creative offers that could be attractive as well, that don't just have to be discounts. And over time, I definitely encourage that you test multiple offers, perhaps not with your first Facebook lead campaign if you are on a budget, because that's going to spread your media spend a little bit too thin. So another example, if let's say we had a fishing guide business where we were offering an experience for you to come out on a boat and I would show you the best spots to fish, and we go out in like an afternoon. That's something where you probably wouldn't have a super high return customer rate, in which case you probably wouldn't want to offer a discount. So a good lead magnet for this type of business could be an ebook or some kind of like email course or video course potentially on how to find a great fishing spot. So 5 great tips from an expert fishing guide on how to find a great fishing spot. So obviously that's going to be relevant to people who are interested in fishing, which are also going to be people who could potentially purchase your core product as well, your fishing guide. And that would be a great way to build a list. And then you can follow up with those people from there and hopefully start a conversation and convert a few of those people into your core offer from that. Okay, so what we're going to do next is think about our audience persona. We're going to try and define a specific segment of people who would be interested in our golf course offer. We're going to understand, or we're going to brainstorm some things that we think are true about that person, and then we're going to use that to write some ad copy. Now, you don't have to go into this level of detail if you're just running a simple lead generation campaign. For example, with this offer, if it is a really attractive offer, we could simply have an ad copy that says, like basically just states this offer. Get 2 green fees for $150 or for $125, whatever. You're getting 37% off. Like if you just state that offer and it's an attractive offer, that could be good enough for your ad copy. But if you have a situation where the conversion rate's a lot lower and maybe the purchase decision cycle is a lot longer, like it would be with real estate, people are not going to buy a home immediately. It's going to take a long time for them to make that decision. That's when you're going to really need to focus on writing persuasive ad copy, because it's going to be really difficult to capture the attention of your potential customers. So I'm going to show you an exercise I would go through for creating an audience persona, which might not be as relevant for this golf offer, but it will demonstrate some techniques for writing persuasive ad copy. So who is our target segment in this case? Well, I'm going to say it's married men, and what you can do is look at your previous customer data. Who is the average customer? Who's the most likely person who's actually going to take action on your offer? Or you could also look at what segment of my customers are producing the most profit or are recurring the most, right? So maybe most of your customers are of a certain profile, but then maybe there's a smaller segment that are a little bit more niche and specific, but they recur, they come back and golf a lot more frequently, and ultimately you earn more money from them. That might be an audience that you want to target with this type of ad. Regardless, we're going to say men who are married, they're in the age bracket of 40 to 60, they have kids, and they work downtown. So the more specific that you can be here, the better off you're going to be. We might not necessarily use this information in our copy or our targeting, but the more specific you can be, it just helps you think and understand what the motivations and goals of this audience might be. So next, we're going to think about some goals or a goal that this audience might have. And I would encourage you to come up with an exhaustive list if you can, write down multiple goals, multiple mistakes, multiple consequences. I'm just going to keep it pretty simple and give one example of each here. But don't be afraid to just build out this list as much as you can. So a simple goal would be to have a great weekend experience. What are some mistakes they're making? Now, these can be mistakes that they know they are making. Like, for example, most people know to eat well and exercise, but they don't do it because they're lazy. And so that's an example of a mistake that somebody knows they're making. But you can also identify mistakes that you know to be true or that you suspect to be true that your audience doesn't. So in this case, a mistake that this audience might be making is spending too much time thinking about work while they're at home with their family. So maybe that's something that they consciously know they're doing, maybe it's not, but if we call that mistake out in ad copy, it might make them nod their head and go, oh yeah, that is something that I probably shouldn't be doing, but I do. Consequences of the mistakes that they're making. So by doing this, the consequence is that they're increasing their stress. There's all sorts of other things like their, the relationships with their family potentially, or lots of different things. Objections. So when they're opting in for either your lead magnet or your core offer, what are some objections they might have? Maybe that it costs too much to golf. Maybe it's too difficult to book a tee time. And then some benefits. So by golfing, you get to share a memorable experience with your kid or your friend that you're golfing with, and it allows you an opportunity to take your mind off work. Okay, so now what we can do is take this information and plug it into our copywriting to try and write some more persuasive copy. Now in this case, golf is not very serious. It's something that people aren't too hesitant to actually take action on. So this template for copywriting might not be as applicable because it's kind of serious and it's very emotionally driven. This might be more relevant for somebody who's really needing persuasion to move from whatever state they're currently at to a point where they can actually take action. But basically what this is we would plug in the information that we identified above in each of these placeholders here. So many people in this segment are unable to achieve this goal because they're making this mistake. What they don't realize is that our product or service can help them achieve their goal by achieving this benefit. That's why we created this offer, so that you don't have to, whatever the objection that they might have is, and then have a call to action. So I've created a bit of a copy here. I kind of deviated from this template a little bit, like I said, because it's not as serious of an offer, but it could read something like, take your mind off work this weekend and kick your summer off on the right foot with a relaxing or infuriating round at this country club. Right now we're offering a limited time summer kickoff special. Get 2 green fees, a cart, and a $20 Clubhouse voucher for just $125, normally priced at $200. Take your mind off work, create a memorable experience, and save money. Click to claim your offer now, limited to the first 20 tee times. So again, we could simply state what the offer is, and that might work, but by identifying our audience segment, we've created something that might be a little bit more relatable to that person. I also like to create at least 4 headlines to test against as well. So I've got a couple here that are pretty clearly stating the offer. So limited time, save $75 on golf, 2 rounds, cart, and food for $125, and then a couple other that are related to that segment. So can't get your mind off the course and wishing you were at the range. Okay, so that's our ad copy that we're going to use. The next thing we're going to do is create some creative, which is basically the visual component of our ad. So I've gone ahead and created what we're going to use as a carousel ad. So the recommended size for Facebook ad is a square dimension. 1080 by 1080 pixels is the maximum resolution. If you're doing story placements, you can do 1080 by 1920. That would be like a full vertical ad on Facebook and Instagram story placements. You can do shorter ads as well. So like it doesn't have to be this tall, but because it's tall, it takes up more space on Facebook. And so there's just an increased likelihood that somebody's going to see your ad as they're scrolling through their feed. So the way I have this set up, and this will make more sense in a moment, it's kind of like an image that is cut in half, but when it shows up, the left part of this image is going to be right here, but it's going to be like a slideshow kind of thing. So they have to click on a button to reveal this second slide. But because these kind of flow into each other, hopefully it's going to encourage these people to click on our ad, which is only going to increase the likelihood that Facebook delivers it to more people. So this is going to be the first thing they see, summer kickoff special offer, and then the explanation of what the offer is. Okay, so this is made using Canva, by the way. They do have a free plan. I also have a free trial for the Pro Canva plan in the description if you're interested in trying it. Helps support this channel at no extra cost to you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is talk about setting up our Facebook ad campaign. So this is going to be targeted to begin with for people who have never run ads before. The first thing I would encourage you to do is create a business manager account, which is a tool Facebook offers to help you manage the different Facebook pages, ad accounts, and people who are working in your business. So if you have a Facebook profile and likely a Facebook page for your business already, then you're going to go to business.facebook.com. You'll be logged into your Facebook profile. You won't see anything on your screen like I'm seeing here. This is because I already have multiple business manager accounts. You're going to click on Create Business. That's going to walk you through a simple process for creating a business manager account. You would just name it based on the name of your business. Once you do that, you're going to log into it by going back to business.facebook.com. This is the business settings. So you would just click onto the business tools in the top left-hand side of whatever screen you're looking at and click on business settings. And that's going to take us to a page that looks like this. And so this is where we can add different users into our business manager account. We can add our Facebook page, Instagram page, and our ad accounts as well. So under the users tab, we'd click on people, and then we'd click on add, and that would allow us to enter the email of the Facebook profile of whoever we want to invite into our business manager to manage these ads and Facebook pages. Under accounts, we're going to go to pages. We'd click on add. So if you are the admin to your Facebook page, you can click on add a page, and that should just automatically add it into your business manager. If somebody else manages it, you can click request access. That'll send them a notification that will provide you access to manage it through your business manager, or you can just create a new Facebook page here if you don't have one. Ad accounts, same process. We click on the add button. We could either add one if we already have it, request access to somebody else's, or more than likely just create a new one. In that case, it's going to show up here. So what you're going to do once you have created it is click on add people. You're going to select the people inside your business manager account. You're going to say manage account so that they have all access and say assign, and you'll be good to go. So you might need to do that for yourself. You might need to add yourself to your ad account to begin with. I'm not too sure about that if you create the ad account though. I would encourage you go and to view payment methods and hook up your credit card. so that when you start running ads, you'll be good to go. And then next, we're going to click on Open in Ads Manager. And so this is the ad account where we're going to create and manage our Facebook ad campaigns. Real quickly, you can see we have 3 different tabs: campaigns, ad sets, and ads. These are the 3 components to any campaign. The campaign is where we select our marketing objective. We give it a name. Inside of a campaign, you can have one or many ad sets, and that's where we're going to define our targeting. So what location and who are we targeting with our ads? What placements are our ads showing up on? Are they showing up on Instagram stories, Instagram feeds, Facebook feeds, etc.? And then the ads live inside the ad set. So again, you can have one or multiple ads inside each ad set, and the ad is just what the ad itself looks like. So your copywriting that we just did, the creative that we just developed, as well as a few other settings as well. So what we're going to do is click on the green Create button to start the process. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is select a marketing objective. This is telling Facebook what our intended business outcome is, and what Facebook's going to do is try and optimize who it sends our ads to based on their likelihood to fulfill this marketing objective. So there's a few different common ones that I typically use. Lead generation, which what that does, when somebody clicks onto your ad, it opens up a lead form where you can collect their information. We can also do conversions. So in that case, we'd be sending people off of Facebook to a website. And on that website, we could have like an online store. We could also have like a form if we were collecting leads as well. Those are the 2 most common ones that I use. And for the purposes of this video, we're going to be creating a lead generation campaign and using lead forms. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to give this a name. And the naming convention I use is the name of the client, or usually like a 2 or 3 letter code for the client. And then I'll do, is it cold or warm traffic? So cold meaning nobody has ever seen an ad from you before. And then the marketing objective, so lead generation. I'll do the name of the campaign, so we'll say summer kickoff. And then usually I do the month that we're launching the campaign. So I'm in Calgary, it doesn't really make sense why we're launching a golf campaign in the snow, but what we can do here, this is kind of like a quick creation pane. So if we want to, we can create give a name to our first ad set and our first ad, and then we can go back in and edit the settings in more detail. So create ad set, or you can just say create ad set for now. We're going to name this. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say the client code. I'm going to do whatever province or city it's in. So I'm going to say it's in Calgary. And then I would do whatever interest we're targeting or demographic targeting or anything like that. So in this case, I'm just going to say we're targeting males aged 40 to 60. And what we might want to do, typically I like launching with at least 2 ad sets. So if we're just going to target broad, which is typically what I like to do, instead of doing 40 to 60, I might do 40 to 50. And then I'll create another ad set that's 51 to 60. So we can split test which age bracket performs better. Ads, same thing, I'm going to do the client code. I'll usually do the name of the campaign, so summer kickoff, and then headline 01. We're going to do primary text 01 and creative 01. We're going to click continue. And so this is going to create a campaign, ad set, and ad infrastructure inside of our campaign, or our ad account rather. And now it's going to open up a pane for us to edit. So the left-hand side, you can see we've got the campaign, and then indented below it is our ad set, and then indented below that is the ad that's inside of that ad set. And up here, we can see that the blue is selecting the campaign, so that's the component that we're editing at the moment. So special ads category. So this is if you're running ads related to credit, employment, housing, or social and elections. So in this case, we're not doing that, so we're not going to select anything. Auction, keep that as is. You can change the objective there if you'd like. You can also add a campaign spending limit, which isn't a bad idea. So let's say we have $500 that we want to spend this month. We can add a campaign spending limit. A/B testing, I would not touch. And then campaign budget optimization. Typically I use ad set optimization. You could use CBO if you don't really want to be too hands-on and you just kind of want Facebook to do most of the heavy lifting for you. So I'm going to keep that off and show you what ad set optimization looks like. Okay, so you see that the ad set is now blue, so that's what we're currently editing. What we're going to do is we've got the ad set name, lead method. So this is because we chose the lead generation marketing objective. We're going to use instant forms. What we're going to do next is select our Facebook page. You can see here it says we've accepted Facebook's lead terms of service. So if you have not, then you're just going to click on view terms. It's going to open up in a new page and you'll click a button that says accept terms. So that's just their terms and service for collecting personal information via lead forms. Dynamic creative, keep turned off. Budget, so daily budget for a campaign, if we're doing $500 per month, that would be a little over $10 per day, about $15-ish per day. So if we're going to do 2 ad sets, then I'll probably do this at like $7 per day, or I might bump it up to $10 per day and then just pay $600 per month kind of thing. Whoops, I meant to do 10. There we go. Start date, I'll usually just keep as is. And then audience. So this is probably going to be the most interesting part of your ad set. This is where you can define exactly who you want your ads to be served to. So locations, if you're a local business, obviously you're going to want this to be refined to wherever your city is. And as long as you're not running ads in that special ads category, which we looked at in the campaign level, then you can actually target cities and locations pretty narrowly. So if I select Calgary, and then I select this, you can see I can drag this radius down to a 10-mile radius. And so that's just dropped a pin in the middle of the city. And so it's saying anybody who living in or recently was in this location. So if we change this, we can say just people living in this location, or we can say people traveling, people recently in this location. So maybe what I might do in this case, if we're targeting people who are, if you remember our target audience, we said married men who work downtown. So maybe our golf course is not actually in Calgary. Maybe it's like down in the south somewhere. But what we might want to do is target people who are working obviously downtown, because that's our target segment in this case. So what I could do is zoom in on the downtown core of Calgary, which is here, and I could just drop a pin. And when I drop a pin, if I go back up and select this, I can drag it down to as small as a 1-mile radius. Now that's pretty small. If I look on the right, you can see the total potential reach is 89,000 people. So I like to keep this usually pretty broad, usually to at least a few 100,000 people typically. So in this case, I might just say, let's try a 5-mile radius and see how large our audience size is. I also want to go into the age here and change this to 40 to 50, I think is what we said for this particular audience. So that's 15,000 people. Now that's a little bit different now because of COVID, because I don't think a lot of people are actually working downtown. But basically I would just keep adjusting this until I had an audience size probably of above 100,000 if I could. So 51,000, that's still kind of small. I might bump that up. Right now, we're targeting all genders. We could specify to just males if we'd like. Because the audience size is looking pretty small, I'd rather just keep it as both, because I mean the offer is relevant to both certainly. Detailed targeting. So this is where we could go in and identify some interests or Facebook pages that our target audience could like. So for example, I could do something very broad like golf, or you could do something like, you know, Tiger Woods or Bubba Watson, or maybe like a specific golf brand or something like that. Because golf is pretty common here, I'm just going to leave it as broad because I don't like to narrow this down too specifically. So in terms of audience, like I'm pretty happy with that. Placements, this is where the ad is going to be shown. So by default, Facebook recommends all placements. So that's going to include Facebook, Instagram, Audience Network. If we select manual placements, we can actually see and select or deselect rather placements that we don't want our ad to be shown on. So it's up to you what you prefer doing. Typically, I'll start with either automatic placements or just typically just automatic placements, unless I have some kind of offer that or like creative where I just want to be advertising on stories, then I might do that. But generally speaking, I'll keep it pretty broad and let Facebook determine where to send these ads to. Okay, so that's good for the ad set. I'm going to click next, and that's going to take us to our ad. Okay, so now we're in the ad section, which we can tell because of the blue. And so we've got the ad name, which we've already created. It's going to tell you the Facebook page that you selected in your ad set. If you connected a Instagram account in your business manager settings, then you could select that there. If you didn't do that, then you can just keep it as the default here, use selected page. So what that's going to do is it's going to use your profile picture and your Facebook page name. And that's what's going to show up when your ads are shown on Instagram, if you selected automatic placements or chose Instagram as your placements. And what I've done is selected carousel. So you can just use a single image or video, but because of that creative that I showed you, we're going to try carousels. So what we're going to do is scroll down, and you can see we have got these different carousel cards. So if I select an image, I'll need to upload one to my account. Okay, so I've selected my first carousel image, and it's just uploading. You can see I'm getting an error here. So this is where you're going to see any errors when you're setting up your ads. I don't have a payment method set up because this is just an account that I don't use. Okay, so while that loads, this is where we're going to put in the headline copy that we had before. So I'm going to scroll down. We're going to paste that in there. We're going to scroll down. I'm going to click onto this third carousel and just say remove because we've only got 2 cards. So you can have up to 6, I believe, on Facebook. In the second card, we're going to add that second image. I'm going to go back and copy another headline here. And now if I scroll down, you'll see this thing that says automatically show the best performing cards first. So Facebook will test showing these 2 cards in different orders, one before the other. And if you have this checked, then Facebook will just kind of optimize for the order that performs best. So you could, I mean, this is a pretty good option typically, but because ours is designed in such a way where we want it to kind of flow over like we see here, I'm going to deselect that so that it only shows them in this particular order. Primary text, so this is that body copy that we wrote. And then the call to action button. You can experiment with different button texts. Typically, I'll learn more performs the best, I find. In this case, lots of these could work. Sign up could work, learn more could work. Get offer could work as well. And so now we can see kind of a preview of what this ad looks like, which is kind of cool. So if you saw this on your feed, you might be curious what this next page has to say. And this is showing a preview on mobile devices. So you can see that the headline is cut off a little bit. So if you had a single image or video ad as opposed to a carousel ad, it would give you a bit more room here. So just be aware of that. Like, you don't get a lot of room for your title. There's no option to remove the button. Sometimes you can have no button as your button text. So in this case, I'd probably go back and I might rewrite this. Like, thinking about the course might be short enough to put in there. And then this one seems to fit, so that's good. Cool. Okay, so that looks good as far as our ad goes. Now this is a lead form campaign, so we need to create an instant form. And so I've got a few random ones in my account. So if you have used a lead form in previous campaigns, then you can just select that previous form. In order to create one, we're just going to click on Create Form. We're going to give it a name. More volume or higher intent. So higher intent means that It's going to add a confirmation page at the end of this lead form. So you can see right now it is 4 pages. And I believe higher intent adds a page. Contact information, review. Yeah, it adds a review step. And then that's the thank you page. Whereas with more volume, it doesn't have that review step. So, I mean, in theory, Facebook says that adding that review step has produces higher intent leads, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. And so in order to maximize our conversion rate, I'm going to keep it at more volume. Info, you can just say use the image from your ad as the background if you'd like. So that'll look like this, or you can just upload a custom image with these dimensions if you'd like to, if you'd like for that to look a little bit nicer. The headline, so we're going to get this offer. And then instead of a paragraph, we could do a list and then just add that list of what they're getting. So it might look something like this. And then the question, so this is the information that we're going to collect from them. So whatever is necessary for you, if you want to have a phone number and an email and probably a phone number as well. Let me see, contact fields, phone number. And so what Facebook's going to do is pre-populate this information if they have it from these Facebook users. So they're going to have the email because everyone has an email to sign up for Facebook. They're going to have their name as well. Perhaps not their phone number, so they might have to type that in manually themselves unless they've added it to Facebook. So if Facebook has all of this, it's going to pre-populate, and all they have to do is click the next button. So it reduces any friction, increases conversion rates a little bit as well compared to landing pages. Privacy, so this is where you're going to need to insert your privacy policy. So this would be a link. Just insert your website's privacy policy link there, and then in the text you can just say privacy policy or your business name privacy policy. And that just appends it to the bottom of here. So if somebody wants to read how their information is going to be used by you, they have access to that. You can add a custom disclaimer as well. So if there's some kind of like GDPR or additional like privacy policy, whatever that's not included in your standard privacy policy, then you can add a custom disclaimer here as well. And then completion is the thank you page. So we can say, thanks, you're all set. Or we can change this to say something that would encourage them to actually take action now. So what I might do here is say something like, so you could say something like this to try and create some urgency and actually encourage them to take action and book the appointment now or book the tea time now. So wait, almost there. We've reserved your spot for the moment, like for 24 hours. Please call the pro shop below to actually schedule your tea time and take advantage of this offer or something like that. And then instead of view website, we could do call business. And then you'd put in your business's number, or sorry, this is the text. So call pro shop now. And then here's where you'd put in your phone number. And then if they're on a mobile device, when they press this number, it should actually pull up their phone and call the pro shop. I'm also going to show you how to add these leads into a Google spreadsheet so that you can actually follow up with them manually in case they don't call and schedule a tea time. Okay, so the tool I would use is called Zapier. Basically, this just allows us to connect these applications together. And so inside of this Zap, I've got this trigger. So whenever a new Facebook lead is generated in a Facebook lead form, it's going to add a spreadsheet row into this spreadsheet. And it's also going to send an outbound email. So that would be to either myself or to the client, to the person in the pro shop in this case. It would send an email that says a new lead has been generated. And then that lead's information, their name, email, and phone number would be inside that email. Some other common steps we might take are adding them into our CRM or into our email marketing software. So this is adding them into Active Campaigns, the tool that we use for email. CRM, like Pipedrive, you could add them into as well. So, it depends on your business and the tools that you use. But this is a typical way to use Zapier. So basically what this means is whenever a new lead is generated from that Facebook lead form, all of these things are going to happen automatically and pretty close to instantly. Within 15 minutes, it's going to happen. So that's going to allow your team to receive this notification, and if that person hasn't booked a tea time, then they can pick up the phone and give them a call or send them an email to follow up. And then if you have any email marketing automations, You could add them into like an automated email sequence as well. So there's lots of cool things you can do with marketing automation. That's typically what we will do. Okay, so then in terms of actually measuring success, this is going above and beyond. And if this is just your first Facebook lead gen campaign, and you don't need to worry maybe too much about this, but in terms of measuring your results and trying to diagnose exactly where in your funnel or in your Facebook ad you need to improve performance, you could use a tool like this. So I have a video that explains in more detail exactly how to set this up and exactly how to use it. But basically what we're looking at is we're measuring metrics at each step of the process. So when people see our ads, when people click onto the lead form, when they're added into our email marketing sequence, and then in this case, if we're booking appointments or tee times, what the conversion rate of those appointments are. And so we're going to measure all of this information on a weekly basis. And then in this status column, we're going to determine whether or not each metric is actually good or not. So in this case, a CPM of $15 is very inexpensive. I know that just through experience and running campaigns for clients that this is a good CPM. I know that a cost per click below $1 is very inexpensive, and a link click-through rate above 2% is very good. So what that tells me is that the ad itself is being delivered to people at a pretty high rate, pretty inexpensively, and when people see those ads, they're clicking through them or through to them at a pretty high rate as well. So if I'm trying to look for areas to improve the performance of this campaign, it's probably not going to be the ad copy or the creative or the audiences that I'm targeting, because all of these metrics tell me that those things are currently performing well. Instead, what I notice is that these three things here are underperforming. So once people open up that lead form, they're converting at a rate of 1%, which is very low. So 700 people are clicking, 10 people are actually taking action on that offer. I know from experience that a conversion rate of like 15% or higher is usually pretty good. So the fact that we're getting below 2% conversion rate means that there's something about that lead form or the landing page you're using that is not working. So that's where you want to go and take a look and see how you can maybe create a new lead form or landing page to try and increase this part of the funnel. So like I said, this is a good tool for diagnosing where you need to make improvements, and also just demonstrating value if you're doing this for a client. They really understand each step of the process and why you're doing everything. So another way to extract leads manually from your account without using Zapier is if you go to your page and then you click on Publishing Tools. We're going to scroll down to Lead Ads Forms and go to Forms Library. Here we're going to see a list of all those lead forms that we created in our account. And then if your lead form has been recently generating leads, then you'll be able to click onto this download button and download those leads into a CSV. So then from there you could upload them into a spreadsheet, into your email tool, into your CRM, etc. So this is how you would do it manually. So as you can see, it's kind of a pain to have to go and do it manually. So that's why there's a lot of value in using a tool like Zapier. By the way, if you're using Zapier, there is a cost. I think it's like $20 per month. Or I also made a video recently on Integromat, which is an alternative to Zapier that you can use as well, that allows you to use Facebook lead ads for free and send those leads somewhere. Yeah, so I know that was a lot of information to throw at you, but that's the process that I would typically go through for setting up a lead ads campaign in Facebook for a local business. So let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, if there's anything that I left out that I should have included. Otherwise, I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video.